Hello friends, I am Naresh Dadij. Today we will talk about the problems which liberalism is facing, and people are worried about the crisis in which liberalism is going on. Now, whether liberalism should have alternatives and we should have different isms to replace liberalism, or we should like to modify the basic principles of liberalism. Well, I would like to talk something about the basic principles of liberalism, and I believe that if we look at it from a different perspective, from contemporary scenario, we will find that the basic principles of liberal state cannot be fulfilled, and they are not being fulfilled. When we define a liberal state, we say that it is based on two basic principles, or it has two major characteristics. First, it supports rule of law, and second, it supports rights of individual. Now, if we look at these two basic characteristics of liberal state, then we will find in today's world it is being difficult to follow this basic principle of liberal state. Why this is so? When we say rule of law, we believe that when we talk of law, we define law as Aristotle has defined, that law is reason unaffected by desire. When the classical liberals have in their mind that rule of law is a basic principle of liberal state, they have in mind this Aristotelian definition of law, that whatever law a state makes, that is based on the reason which is unaffected by desire, which means that they are not created for a selfish interest. All laws are created for common good, for common welfare of the people. But today we see that in many countries and in many states, especially wherever the conservative forces are in power, we are talking about democratic state. Even in democratic state, there are political parties. Some political parties are purely liberal, and others, we can say, have leaning towards conservatism. So wherever or whenever the conservative political parties or political parties which have leaning towards conservatism, they come to power, then they start making such laws which are not laws from the point of view of Aristotle. For instance, they start making laws based on religion, favoring some religion, one religion, favoring one ethnicity, favoring one particular class. And they do it because they try to cater to their voting bank and not to the whole public or whole population. So in liberal states also, which are democratic states, there are instances which are growing in content, in nature, where the political party which is ruling and it wants to retain power by hook or by crook, then it tries to satisfy the voting bank and not the whole public, and to keep in mind the interest of the voting bank, they start making laws, which means that when we say liberal state should maintain rule of law, but if the laws are itself faulted, they are faulty. If laws are not reason unaffected by desire, but laws are made for satisfying interest of a particular group, then how can a liberal state is supposed to run with this rule of law? So this is a major problem which is coming up. So the problem is that when the political party is changing hands in power, they try to outdo each other in making such laws which satisfy only their own selfish interest, which is manifested in the interest of their voting bank. So that is one problem. Secondly, when we talk of rights, now when rights were conceived in the modern period, especially by John Locke, when he talks of natural rights, then he defines a state, that a state exists for the sake of protection of these rights. So a state is a means. State has no other objective, no other aim. It doesn't have its own interest. Now, in today's world, we see that rights are also being debatable. Now, there are many types of rights. Not only natural rights, which are most of these natural rights are converted into constitutional rights in different states, but there are certain rights which are we call now human rights, which are not part of the state's constitution, but which are aggressively propagated by international agencies and supported by international agreements. And these are called human rights. Now, when we say that the state has got state is created for the sake of protection of rights, then in today's world, does it mean that a state is created to protect human rights or to protect the fundamental rights or rights which are mentioned in their constitution? Because human rights are you can say it very large number of rights are there which are called human rights. They are also changing from time. Their intensity is also changing. Some rights are very important in certain conditions, some rights are not important, so important in certain conditions. So the problem arises before states whether they should formulate their policies to protect these human rights or not, because they are very debatable. So the second point, which I just want to make, is that the second condition of a liberal state was to protect the rights. Now even the concept of right is in crisis, or right has many interpretations. So when you do not know which rights you have to protect, how can you protect some rights? So these two things, which were very clear in 19th century or before Second World War, or we can say even before 1980s, liberal state could be very well defined. But with the decline of Soviet Union, with the coming of globalization, and with the rise of ethnic politics, or what we call identity politics, then these new things are coming up which are challenging liberal state. In liberal state, we talk of individual rights only, but now we have group rights also, because groups are also being realized as something which is real. So it is the group rights are challenging the foundation of liberalism. So the problem is that the liberalism is facing problems. So these two fundamental premises on which liberalism is based, that is law, which is now not reason based, and rights which are not very clear, whether it is individual's right or group's rights, or whether they are human rights or other types of rights. There is another problem which is coming up for liberalism, is that which is now being pointed out by many scholars. They are coming out with this, that liberalism, fundamental idea of liberalism, is based on enlightenment. Now enlightenment is known for search for universality, search for reason. Now, which means that the liberalism is based on the concept of reason, the rationality. They have faith on human reason and rationality. But now this concept of enlightenment is also challenged. But before that, we should know that in human life, and today we are seeing it more after, we can say, after 1990s, after 1980s, when we talk of the postmodernism or the impact of globalization or rise of ethnicity and other things, that human life is not controlled by reason only. There are non-rational elements in human beings. They are very important sometimes. So an ideology like liberalism, whether it should take into account of these non-rational elements or not. We see that we cannot simply talk that the non-rational element will be over. Like Habermas has talked about the Enlightenment project. Then he wishes that in the near future, the Enlightenment project is still not complete, and in near future, it will be completed. And we know about it only when religion will evaporate from the earth. But we know that religion is becoming stronger and stronger. So even if the rise of science and technology is taking place on the one hand, on the other hand, human beings are going towards religion, not the traditional religions also, but there are new type of religions which are coming up, new types of sources of faith which are coming up, and individuals are attracted towards that. So the question is that how can you make a political philosophy which can last forever, which is based only on one part of human being, that is the rational part. Don't we have something we call the non-rational basis of liberalism? So how it is possible? It is possible only when we try to dissociate liberalism from the dominant enlightenment idea, and that is reason. There is a book now, and there are maybe other articles which are coming up, which clearly mention that liberalism, enlightenment is of two types. One is which is dominant enlightenment, which we know, which is of John Locke and Immanuel Kant and Bentham and others. And the other element of enlightenment is what the writer calls pragmatic enlightenment, which is composed of the ideas of four persons at least. One is Smith and Montesquieu, David Hume, and Voltaire. These are the Adam Smith and Voltaire, then David Hume, and then Montesquieu. These are 18th century philosophers, and they did not emphasize too much on reason. They also pointed out the limitation of reason, and so they say that the non-rational element is also very important. As we know famously about Adam Smith's description of capitalism and of market, when he says that there is a hand of God which is to regulate this market, and the state should not interfere in the market. So now this is another point which is very important to reconsider for liberalism, whether liberalism should take into account the non-rational elements of human beings or not. So these are some few ideas which I just wanted to share with you. We will come up with more ideas and sometimes later on about liberalism and what we should do with liberalism or with any another political philosophy or political theory in future. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you very much.